So we've talked a lot about Chatter, the collaboration offer in Sales Cloud. We talked about Chatter in Service Cloud. And so now we're going to talk even more about Chatter, about the multi-domain collaboration offer. And I'm going to ask Marc Benioff, our Chairman and CEO, to come back here on stage. Marc.
Thank you, Olivier. Well done. Super cool. I love Olivier. He's obviously a great presenter, but also you can see he also has a good resemblance. Looks very similar to the former American President George W. Bush. So thank you, Olivier. It's a great side business opportunity for you as an imitator. So what have we talked about so far? So far, we've really kind of gone through our industry overview, our company strategy. We've also now walked through kind of what is our technology around the Sales Cloud? What is our technology around the Service Cloud? We've done in-depth demonstrations for you. You've seen how the social metaphor and the mobile metaphor have been integrated into these technologies. But we want to go a little deeper into that social metaphor. You may know it was about December 1 of 2008 that we really had the revelation at Salesforce.com. One of our senior vice presidents came up with this idea of merging this concept of Facebook into Salesforce.com, and that's when we really birthed Salesforce.com Chatter. Now, since we've released it, which was about 9 months ago, it's been our most successful release ever, and we now have over 80,000 enterprises around the world who are using Salesforce.com Chatter. That's amazing for us. And customers are rapidly adopting Chatter. You've heard about some of these great stories already, some of them here today, and others as well. And you're about to hear a really great customer with Dell, who's deployed more than 100,000 users of Salesforce Chatter throughout their enterprise, providing a comprehensive global framework for collaboration. It's something that I use every day to run my own business. It's how we run Salesforce.com. And today, when you're with any of our employees, ask our employees to show you how they actually use Salesforce.com Chatter or any of our technologies. One of the unique things about our company is we actually walk our talk, and every part of the products and technology that you see today is what we use to run our business. So have our employees show that to you. You'll be very surprised to see some of our own best practices. Customers love Chatter for a lot of reasons, but some of the things that have really been surprising to us, and this is a survey that was just done of our customers, 6,000 of them reported back to us. As I mentioned, 80,000 are out there. 6,000 of them said that email was down in their company by a third. How many of us would like to have our email down by a third? And we already knew that at Salesforce. We have 40% less email at Salesforce since we put in Chatter. Meetings were down by 28% in customers using Chatter. Access to customer information was up by 54%. Collaboration was up by 36%. I put this slide up today because I just think it's very, very powerful in that technology for technology's sake is not that interesting. But I do think a lot of these old technologies have really held back the productivity inside our companies. We have all these people, we have these networks, we have these mobile devices, but have we unleashed the productivity? Have we unleashed the gains that we've really been looking for? And I believe that technology like Chatter is really doing that. You know, it's been hard with this legacy software. I talked about kind of the problems with SharePoint or Lotus Notes or the traditional software products. But by breaking through that, we really see this new opening for us. And this new opening is about using this social paradigm. It's about using profiles, about status updates, groups, file sharing. You know, yesterday, I met with a customer of ours, and when I was working with that customer and getting ready for the meeting, I had a group of mine that I had put together on Chatter. And some of us were in San Francisco, some were in Japan, some were in London, and some were here in Paris. And we're all able to work easily inside this group metaphor. And the more I've worked with groups, the more I've understood that the power of collaboration is really the power to synthesize ideas, to easily manage and share information on demand, but also it's just a way to create a much higher level of ideation. It's going to create the productivity, the innovation, the breakthroughs that we need to run our businesses. We're carrying these mobile devices around with us. I've got Chatter on my BlackBerry. I've got Chatter on my Dell Streak that you're about to see. I've got Chatter on my iPad. I have Chatter on my Android phone. I've got Chatter on my laptop, which is back at the hotel. And everywhere I go, I've got that instant collaborative environment, and it's deeply integrated into all of my social network through the company, but also into my corporate apps. It's not extricated from the sales. It's not extricated from service or even from my financials or my file management. It's all unified as a unified system. And Chatter Mobile is now available on iOS, which is the Apple operating system, on Android, and on BlackBerry. And the way to get it is very easy. If you have a BlackBerry, just go to m.salesforce.com and you can download Chatter Mobile. You can also download the Salesforce BlackBerry client. Both of them are free right on m.salesforce.com. And if you have an iPhone or if you have an iPad, you can go right to the Apple App Store. Or if you go to Android, you can go to the Android Marketplace. And there's other ways to get to Chatter also. You're about to hear from Luke L'Amour, who's the CEO of Seismic. If you download Seismic, for example, from the Android Marketplace, you can get to Chatter right from the Seismic environment. So we really have Chatter for the entire enterprise. We have a free version of Chatter. We have a version of Chatter which is $15 a user a month. We include Chatter for free in all of our user licenses. And we have a new service called Chatter.com that has tens of thousands of companies that are experiencing Chatter. And the power of that is it's actually deeply integrated with our existing services, so those customers can also just upgrade with one button. Well, I want you to hear directly from customers today who are using Chatter. I think it's the best way to understand what's really going on. Would you please welcome John Miles, who's the Vice President from Dell, and Paul Corbel, who's the Director General of SFR. Welcome, guys. Great to have you.
Great to be
see
here,
you.
Mark.
Great
Thanks,
to see
Mark.
you. Hey, thanks so much. You know, both of you guys, we wanted to have you on stage because you're not just pioneers in our sales and service products, and I think both of you are using those, but you've really taken it to a new level with Chatter. And you know, at scale, John, and also at SFR, you've been doing very innovative and unusual things. And when we talk to customers, you know, we can pitch all day long in the slides and the demo, but I like to hear from customers, what have they done and how has it impacted your business? And do you have some specific examples of things that you've done in your enterprise where Chatter's made a major difference? John, do you want to start and tell us how you're doing?
Sure, Mark. And the first thing I'd like to say is thank you to everyone who's in the room who's a Dell customer. We truly appreciate your business as well, so thank you.
All right, well, they're very appreciative. How many people here are Dell customers? Raise your hands. All right, we have quite a few Dell customers here.
So we are, Dell is a leader and a growing leader in the cloud industry. So we are using cloud internally, such as with Salesforce.
Absolutely.
And the way
we've got thousands of Dell computers. That's how we run Salesforce.
So that's the second way we're helping people. And the third way is we're using it to power cloud enterprises through acquisitions we've done, such as Boomi. But for us, Chatter has become really a revolutionary technology internally, and we initially launched it to our 20,000 sales reps, and that was so successful because it started to allow us to collaborate around accounts, around different groups that we have, and then it spread so much that we decided to replace the other collaboration tools we were on internally, and we launched it to all 100,000 people globally.
Now, you've got over 100,000 users of Chatter today, and you know, what was that total roll? I mean, what did you do? Plan that out over a period of a year? Did you get that rolled out, or 2 years? Or how long did it take you to roll out those 120,000 users?
We rolled the initial 20,000 a week after your product went live. And then in October, after we did a co-launch with you, we launched the remaining 75,000 employees in one night. And our adoption, we run a single instance globally of Salesforce, so everything from Salesforce to partner relationship management to what we're doing on the Service Cloud is all interconnected in this Chatter environment. And I think that truly is what the power of this new ecosystem brings together, just as you've described it today.
Now, your CEO is obviously very active on Chatter. You've mentioned that. And how does he use the product, and what have been your surprises in regards to Michael and what he's doing with the technology?
Yeah, Michael has truly been the pioneer of Chatter within Dell, and he asked for it about 6 weeks before it even went live, but now he's using it in several different ways. One, Michael is he just is very interactive in everything he does, and he wants to take a personal interest with all the employees within Dell. So one thing is he uses it as a way to highlight team performance and recognize key wins, key product developments. He puts out information about how he wants products represented in the marketplace. I saw one key area where he was following an account, saw that we had a supply chain system issue, raised it on Chatter, asked employees to rally around it. Turns out we had a communication gap between two groups, pretty much solved it within 20 minutes of it getting posted on Chatter, and it's just become that type of use case for us.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned some of the groups that he's become a member of or created. Can you give us an example of an extremely compelling group that you've seen emerge inside the company?
So one of the most compelling groups we have is Dell has built one of the first social media command centers of its kind. And we are a big user of Radiant 6, which thank you for just acquiring.
Yeah, we're very excited about acquiring Radiant 6.
But what we do is we follow every mention of Dell that's out in the social world. And in this command center, they're taking those feeds and they're translating it right into Chatter feeds, which they then send internally. And that's a group that Michael follows very closely because he's very concerned about how are our products, services, solutions represented in the marketplace. And we use it as a means now to get that information to the product groups, to really talk about how we can enhance solutions or intervene if we feel that the information that's coming out is inaccurate.
Mm-hmm. And has there been anything particularly surprising about Dell and Chatter? I know you're also using it with Seismic internally very aggressively.
Yes, so Seismic has been a great partner for us, and we, one of the newer widgets that we have is this is our Venue Pro phone. It was recently ranked the *1 phone for the Microsoft operating system.
Does it have an integrated keyboard as well?
This does have an integrated keyboard. Thank you for that. But
trying to help out, John.
We did not have Chatter, as you know. Salesforce does not have Chatter for the Windows devices, and so we partnered with Seismic, and within a 4-week period, soup to nuts, they had completely built out a version for us, and it was an amazing event because we had a worldwide conference where all our executive directors and above came to this event. We issued each of one of them a phone with the Seismic app on it, and we collaborated around the event using Chatter, and it allowed employees throughout the entire organization to understand what was happening at that leadership event, and it allowed us to post real-time questions via Chatter to those who were presenting. Yeah, so just exciting. A wonderful use case.
Well, it's very exciting, and if you'd give any suggestions for folks here about how they should be using Chatter in their companies?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is get members of your executive team very excited about using it, and realize the best way I can look at it is if Dell knew what Dell knows, imagine the possibilities. So to me, Chatter is really about sharing knowledge in the enterprise. And it's a huge paradigm shift because those who are most powerful in the Chatter ecosystem are those who have the most powerful knowledge. And that's who people tend to follow. The other thing I'd say is use it on mobility devices like we talked about, like the Dell Streak you're going to see here in a few minutes, and use the power of mobility to connect back in the workforce and enable your global sales teams, your global employee forces. And lastly, make sure you're looking at your selling motions and use cases for how you can help people understand how to make the best use of it. So that's
fantastic.
What I'd say. So
hey,
thank you.
Thanks so much for being here, John. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.
And Paul, you're with a great French company with SFR. You've been doing very innovative work now with Salesforce.com for quite some time. Can you tell us your story?
Yeah. So thank you very much for inviting me today, Mark. So I'm running SFR business team. For those who don't know, who are coming from overseas, a few words about SFR. So SFR is the second largest telecom provider in France. We are running a business which is, I think, quite useful for cloud computing. I mean networks. So what would be a cloud computing without efficient network? So I'm personally in charge of the B2B arm of SFR, which are, let's say, serving about 150,000 customers from SMB up to large corporate. We are having a 35% market share on mobile here in France. And within the CAC 40, the top 40 is a French company, we are having about the 98% market share. So when we created SFR Business Teams 3 years ago, at that time, we had to merge two companies, SFR Enterprise, which was coming from the mobile, and Neuf CGTEL coming from the fixed. Those two companies were using, let's say, ancient applications for managing their salespeople. So you know those coming from the ancient world. And at that time, our challenge was to do cross-sales with all our services, quadruple play services, through all of our customer base. And so we were looking for one applications to, let's say, to manage this new strategy and these real transformations. And so we have chosen Salesforce because with Salesforce, we have been able to deploy very, very rapidly, in less than 6 months, and applications to put in place to implement these transformations. The second reason why we did have chosen Salesforce is because by using Salesforce, you simplify the visibility of your business. You improve your, let's say, decision-making process. I take one example. You know, when you are running a business, Marc, it's very good to have knowledge about what has been, let's say, the information of the past. It's very much useful, but it's not sufficient. What you have to know, you have to be aware of what's going to take place in the near future. So forecast is very much important. And thanks to, let's say, I would say, the good funnel management of Salesforce, you are able to manage the forecast, the predictability, and you can anticipate what is going to be your business. So this is just to give you why we did have chosen the Salesforce 3 years ago.
So what's been your biggest surprise in using Salesforce Chatter?
We have just introduced recently, to be honest, Chatter within our, let's say, enterprise. We have, for the time being, about 2,200 users of Salesforce, 800 within our direct sales teams, and the rest from our business partners in direct channels. We have chosen Salesforce because, for us, it was a tool which is enabling us to implement collaborations within all our community of internal employees, external partners, and so on, and also our customer. I think that Chatter is going to take us to the next level of collaborations. I can take an example. Personally, I am managing myself, of course, the pipeline of, let's say, the most important deals in my business, the one coming from the CAC 40. And I'm quite sure that with Chatter, I will be able to, let's say, to tackle day-to-day the evolution of my most important project in this pipeline. So just to give you an example. So I'm convinced that this is going to be a key tool to improve my efficiency in my business.
Great. Hey, thank you so much for being here, Paul. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.